I am a Klingon.
I'm a Klingon.
Alright, welcome back to part 2 of a very special Ubumfa podcast episode where we get the whole gang together and do something that, I think needs to be done, and I don't know if we weren't doing it. I don't know if anybody else would step up to the fucking plate. I'm gonna be honest. I think, you know what I'm saying? I think we're doing a special work that's been set aside for us specifically.
I literally was trying to see if anybody else was doing it last night, and I couldn't find shit.
No, it's just not out there. It's just not out there. We're really filling a need in society that maybe isn't being talked about enough. Today, we have an expanded panel, if you will, of
experts
and perspectives. Experts, well said, including Josh, who you know, Andrew, who was on the last one as well. But in addition, we have Sam.
Back from this is back from the Batman podcast.
Yes. Yep. From the original episode.
The first one
that started it all.
Perfect.
Now, I'd like each of you to maybe just describe briefly what your connections are or associations with or relationship with Star Trek are.
Sure, I can go for it. So I did not watch Star Trek growing up. It's one of those things that my dad would reference and expect me to understand, but I didn't get it because nobody, no child in the 00s, most children in the 00s were not super into Star Trek because Star Wars was the big thing at the time.
Right.
But I was aware of the references to it. I knew the basic stuff. I knew Spock and Kirk and Scotty.
Yeah.
And eventually, when I was around 13, I got into a show called Red Dwarf, which was it was the BBC Two comedy, sci-fi comedy that kind of parodied a lot of sci-fi in general, and including Star Trek. And that from there, I kind of started thinking a bit more about what Star Trek was, and eventually, years later, watching all the movies.
Right. Yes. So a little bit. You had some associations, but the true meeting didn't come till later. So yeah, what we're doing today, we already have part 1 of this where we fan cast an imaginary new Star Trek film featuring the original series characters. And now we're going to do part 2 where we fan cast the Next Generation.
I'd like to really quickly say that I think Gene, Sam wrote out a list for the original series. Maybe we could go over that at the end of this one.
Okay.
If you want to, sure.
Perfect.
We're going to do the Next Generation cast. We all have different picks that we're going to go through. They all might reflect different kind of imaginations or imaginings of what the movie could look like, since we haven't actually had a Next Generation reboot at all yet. Provides a little bit more possibilities in our brains. Last time we started with sort of the less core or main characters and worked our way up to the heavy hitters. And so, it's got to be Crusher, right?
I suppose.
Crusher or Troy?
Yeah, I'd say Crusher.
Yeah.
Not having seen the show, but just I'd say she doesn't have anything to do in the movies.
Nope, nothing.
No. Gates McFadden gets much more to do in the show, but even then, she's probably still the most minor character, or the one that they do the least with. Yeah. Crusher is the doctor of the Enterprise D, and in the show, this isn't a spoiler, but it's not really explored in the movies that much. She is a kind of old friend of Picard's from the olden days. Her husband, and Picard all knew each other. Husband died, and they kind of had an on and off type tension throughout the show. So that's just some background. But yeah, who wants to go first with their first?
I think I'll send it off.
Beverly Crusher. Yeah.
So I think with Crusher as a character, I basically don't know anything about because she doesn't get anything to do in the movies.
Yep.
I go based sort of on looks or sort of what I would imagine because she's sort of a doctor. I imagine a more of a caring type, and so for this one, I decided to cast a certain persona non grata in the podcast here. My pick was Bryce Dallas Howard.
Oh my god! Wow.
Perfect.
Wow.
That's a great
cool.
one.
That's cool that you came up with that random name for this.
Yeah, it just makes sense. She has the look. If you want to keep the look similar.
Yeah, she's a good pick.
Yeah, it's pretty much. What you got going for it is.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could probably have her have like a little funny moment. Like those Jurassic World movies are just full of those little funny moments.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And Bryce,
Yeah, that's what they're known for. That's what I hear the most about.
Yeah.
That's what they tell
allegedly. Me. I mean, the people like it. $1 billion each one.
All right. Anyway, nice. I like that pick. I had a similar thing. I mean, the reality is that Crusher really just isn't that much of a character, even in the show. She's kind of a blank slate. Do what you want with her, but the core is that she is like, she's good at her job, takes it seriously. That's caring. Yes, smart, all that jazz. And so, I also did it mostly based off of looks, so I picked the other one, and that's Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, I considered her. I didn't write her down, but I figured I would go younger for this iteration.
See, and that's the thing with the Picard relationship, where those are in my mind, because I knew that they were kind of tied to each other. Where I because of how I maybe cast Picard, I was like, I can't cast Crusher too young, because then that could be weird, or you just have to write that whole shit out. But it'll be fine. It's fine either way. It's a movie. But yeah, that was my pick.
I don't. She doesn't get a lot of time in movies. We've gone over it. I haven't seen the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I picked Andrea Riseborough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's the other one.
I was looking at movies and I saw Mandy and I was like, that seems like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Oh, that's a good pick.
I had no idea, and I don't know a lot of actors and actresses like the rest of you might.
Right.
So I just went on to Google and looked up actresses with red hair and picked one.
Yeah.
Christina Hendricks.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh.
I think
that's an option, yeah.
That could happen. It could.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
Good pick.
All right, so I had two others that I had option. So
Me too.
I knew that she was a little bit older, so I cast another older person who I think would be more of the same age as Picard. So you have that dynamic going. I think, because of course, I mean, I didn't bother to cast Wesley. I think you should just cut him. But
yeah,
of course, she has a son. Well, she has a mother character who is a recent portrayal of a mother.
Oh my god!
In a movie where I think they did a really convincing job of it, and that would be Rebecca Ferguson, sort of based off Dune. I think she could.
I also picked Rebecca Ferguson for my number 2.
And I think she would absolutely be able to pull that off. I think she could, have sort of convincing dynamic, because it's an interesting thing on like a spaceship. Although I imagine in the show it's not all that interesting, but I think that would be an option. And then I had not really a stunt casting, but just I'd say if you reboot it, you'd probably change your character. Similar situation to Star Trek 09, where Uhura's character is like completely different. They just basically remade these so they're more engaging for modern audiences.
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%.
I think if you make her more of a comedy relief, maybe more funny, more upbeat, perfect casting would be Elizabeth Banks.
Oh.
I think she can sort of pull off that, funny, sort of charismatic type thing that people are looking for, as opposed to a more mellow.
I just haven't thought about Elizabeth Banks at all.
Yeah, I was literally looking at movies and I got the Hunger Games and I was like, there must be someone in here for like one of these roles. And I saw Elizabeth Banks and I was like, well, how about Crusher? Because Crusher, I would say, is, like I said, you could probably just completely change who her character is, and it probably wouldn't be too much of a big deal for the rest of the cast if you were to do that. And I'd say that would be an interesting route, is more of a charismatic, I know that, then she's a funny actress, I know her type casting.
I had one more as well.
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I'm starting to worry about where maybe one of your Picard picks might have ended up being if you were looking through Hunger Games.
Yeah, I will say that no. I said no, I'm not doing that.
Thank golly. Andrew, did you?
I do, and this is if maybe we casted, let's say, a bit a Picard who's closer in age to what Patrick Stewart was. Yeah. I think that Naomi Watts could be good.
Yeah.
And I think if you cast Naomi Watts, you keep a lot of it the same, probably.
Yeah.
But if that's what you're doing, I think she might be perfect for it.
Yeah. So.
And then you can guest cast Sonny Jim to play Wesley. Just slam dunk.
Not Sonny Jim.
Easy.
So for my third pick, I was thinking, somebody that could be bring more of that kind of youthful comedic energy, as well as kind of maybe if you play up the romance between Picard and her in the movie, because it's actually kind of understated in the show. You get somebody who has experience in romantic comedies, especially. There's actually one of hers is coming out pretty soon with George Clooney, and it's Julia Roberts.
Oh, wow.
I think she could. I don't even think I'm not even bullshitting. I think that would work. I think she could. I think she could do it. She has a natural charisma that would make her character relevant just inherently through her casting.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I.
And then you can gender swap Wesley and just have Emma Roberts. You can have a real mother and daughter duo in there.
There we go.
Perfect.
The women characters in Next Generation get a bit of a raw deal in the movies. It's just unfortunate. The biggest role any of them get is the icky stuff in Nemesis.
Yeah, the cool stuff in Nemesis. I'll add. So anyway, I'll do my Troy first. This is my first pick for Troy.
Yeah.
You couldn't do this. Well, you could. Maybe you. I don't know if they would shy away from it just because she has already been in a Star Trek movie. But I think you keep the same because of course she's not human, so you sort of want the semi exotic type feel, where she's a little like she basically feels human. Like if I didn't know, I would not have been able to like determine.
Yes.
But
correct.
I think the way I would go is Sophia Botella. So even though she already played Jayla, she was in makeup, so I feel like general audiences wouldn't be like, huh? But was she, huh? So I think she could definitely do that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And she has experience.
I didn't think of that.
Like, she's a good actress. And I think you could do a lot more stuff with Troy. Then I don't know what they did in the show, but I think the stuff in Nemesis was cool. You could have done a lot more with just that.
They do.
Just that concept of being able to like literally, sort of sense people. I think you could do a lot of cool stuff with that.
They use it in the show a decent amount. Like her character is much more relevant in the show, and then gets written out a lot in the movies. Yeah, it's a good pick. My Troy pick, my number one, is Golshifteh Farahani from Patterson. In that movie, she just has that like warmth, like softness that is just like it's like so good, and she'd be able to live it to like that actual counselor role really well. Yeah, I think that's the way I would go with it. Again, trying to cast lesser known actors in some of these roles.
I think if we make a modern reboot and you play your character up a little more, which I feel like maybe a decent amount of these characters, if not all of them, would have probably in a reboot.
Yes.
I think a good pick. Again, you'd really kind of have to jazz some things up here, I think, but it could be Penelope Cruz.
Ooh, there we go. I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's good. I am all for it.
I mean, we know she's funny.
You got my vote. Oh yeah, we know she's funny.
She could crack plenty of jokes.
I wasn't really sure who to cast as Troy, and I have no idea if she would ever act. Like this person I chose is not actually an actress. I said Saint Vincent if she grows her hair really long.
She does act. Oh. She is an actress.
She does act? Perfect. Because I thought the looks.
She's not good though.
But
she does have the looks.
Yeah, that's true.
She does. She absolutely.
That's instantly where my mind went.
That makes a ridiculous amount of sense. That's actually pretty funny.
That's wild.
All right. Well, my second pick was because she's already shown sort of this similar sort of role of what I would think. I think if I were to reboot, I would make Troy a little bit weirder, but just really play up the sort of weird aspect. And so I thought, who's a actress who's sort of been way where she's sort of connected through sort of magic through like her mind to other characters. And so my thought was Sarita Choudhury from Green Knight was what I'm thinking of. She's also an After Yang.
Okay.
But I think she has the that sensibility. And it's funny, I actually saw her by looking at the Hunger Games cast, and I didn't even see his Hunger Games movie, so I don't know what she did in those, but that's what I stumbled on. I was like, you know what? I think she was in only Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, which I did not see, so
no.
I think she has the the weirdness that I think should be played up.
That's fair. I like that. Yeah. I thought you were gonna say Elizabeth
Me
Olsen
too.
for a
That's
second.
what I thought. That's exactly where I thought you were going.
I didn't even consider her.
Can you just bring some of that unhinged mother energy?
Wanda, Wanda.
My third Troy pick isn't super interesting. I just thought it would be fun if it was Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that's before I watched Armageddon Time. I was like, oh, it'd be fun.
She has the look.
Yep.
Yeah, she has the look. She could do it. Be fun. Again, bring some gravitas to the role.
Now I had two more.
Right.
I think you could, if you want to keep her character, I mean, you could literally go anywhere with this one. She's one of the best actresses currently. Rachel Weisz.
Yeah.
I think she could totally pull off pretty much anything you would want to do with the character. Right. I think she just sort of fits in. And then my other one was Zoe Kazan. I think if you keep her sort of similar, you could just slot Kazan right in there, and she would just be able to pick up where Marina Sirtis picked up. Marina Sirtis.
Marina Sirtis.
I think she has very similar, or she could have very similar.
Interesting.
Behavior.
I do have one more.
Perfect.
I think if you go the same route that Josh said, and you play her up a little weirder, maybe make her a bit of a tweaker, I think you could cast Sonoya Mizuno in the role.
Oh.
I feel like she could put an interesting twist in that character. We know she's a good good actress. There's Devs is a. We'll just pretend that one didn't happen. Besides that, we know that she's really good. At least I think. She's impressive and everything else.
Yeah.
I think Alex Garland just didn't give her anything to do.
Yeah, in my Next Generation reboot, I would make it weird, and I would say, and I would let him take over the reins.
I would watch it.
Give that a little go.
I would watch it.
Where no men has gone before.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, no, we haven't really talked about that. We could. We absolutely could.
We didn't talk about it for the first one either. We kind of did.
No, we didn't. I think. Well, we all said we wanted to be Tarantino.
Yeah, but so does everybody.
Literally.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Everybody's onto something.
And I don't know if I'd want Tarantino to do Next Generation. It's just a different vibe.
Completely different vibe.
I mean, he could do it, but they are separate decisions. Yep. Okay, should we do Worf or Geordi?
Well, for Worf, I have a bunch because I kind of didn't know exactly where to go with Worf. Well, I mean, I kind of did. So I'll just name off my three, which I think are sort of just shrug castings. They're just like, oh, of course you're going to cast these guys. Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yep.
And Winston Duke.
Yep.
I think those are.
I had Winston Duke as my number 2.
I think this. I mean, they can all definitely. I think Winston Duke would probably be the best one of there. I think
he would be. I think he'd be really good. I mean, he's big guy, deep voice.
Yeah, those are my
comedic abilities.
3. I think you could keep the character very similar. I don't think you would want to change him that much.
No.
He's just funny, silly. Fine, Klingon. But my main one, which is a pivot, I think you could pivot him a little bit. Was Jeffrey Wright.
Oh, that's a good one. I was thinking about. I actually wrote Jeffrey Wright down for a different character, which is funny. You can probably figure out who.
Yeah,
right.
I just think if you have the sort of the Commissioner Gordon sort of stoic Jeffrey Wright, with a bit of a funny twist, which he can definitely do. He could definitely play a sort of funny Worf. It wouldn't really be Worf, but I think that would be an interesting, dynamic.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, an interesting little thing. I only had 2. I had Winston Duke was my, they were pretty close, but my number 2, I think. And then the other guy that we haven't talked about yet, which is obviously he's becoming a big thing, is Yahya.
That was my number 1.
I didn't even think of him. He's got to be the best option, I'd say.
That's what I thought.
He's the up and coming guy.
I thought he was the first. He was the first person I wrote on this whole piece of paper. It came to mind immediately.
He's got the charisma. Yep. The charisma, the deep voice.
I even looked at the ambulance page and looked at the actor. And I somehow didn't even I didn't even consider his name.
Wow. Yeah, I think it'd be perfect. I have 2 more.
Oh wow.
I think another decent one could be John David Washington.
I thought of him. It just he hasn't shown the charisma yet.
And I'm maybe he can. I kind of don't know, but he sure didn't do it in Amsterdam. That's a promise.
Amsterdam.
I was just gonna say, I just worry that he's not gonna come across as stoic as much as he's just gonna come across as emotionless.
Yeah,
and that's what I worry about. Bland.
Yes,
because Worf has an intense at all times. That's the thing. He's always in the room.
He's a Klingon.
Yeah, I am a Klingon.
I'm a Klingon.
I'll let.
Yeah.
I just wrote down Michael B. Jordan or Mahershala Ali.
Well, Mahershala would be
Would be
nuts.
good.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew.
I have a gender swap.
Bang.
I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. We haven't had
We
a
haven't
gender
had
swap
one.
yet.
I just did.
Reverse.
I think you could cast Zendaya to play Worf.
She's so little.
I
so
don't
tiny.
know.
She's so
Get
little.
creative with the camera, like we used to do.
They just always shoot her from
Give her a
like down
fat
here.
suit.
Shoot her from like the
Yes.
floor at all
Or
times.
still-
It's
Yes.
always,
Like Lord of the
Yes.
Rings.
I think it could
Force
be
perspective
crazy. I think
every
it could be
shot.
crazy.
Oh, that's.
I am a Fremen.
I like it. I like the. It's outside,
It's outside the box.
It could be maybe she's more like it's more like she's like a martial artist. Like she knows how to
Yeah.
be fast.
Yeah.
And agile.
She
Knows how to use
does the
use her
spinny
opponent's
moves.
weight
Yeah,
against them.
it'd be sweet.
She grabs her head with her leg and flips her to the ground like every
Yes.
Marvel
widow.
character.
Yeah.
She's the black widow.
You're right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is that it? Perfect. Yeah. I like the direction this is going. All right, Jordy.
I would like to just get mine out of the
Right,
way because they've both been said.
Okay.
I said Mahershala Ali
that's
is
fine.
one, and then I Jeffrey Wright is
Bang. Oh yeah. Those would be good. I think I thought of Jeffrey Wright.
So my first thought, which seemed like kind of just sort of the most obvious pick for me, was Daniel Kaluuya, just because he's sort of in that spotlight. He's the big one
Yeah.
that I would say would work as Geordi. And then the next guy I haven't seen him in anything, but just based on what I know from, I don't even remember the TV show he's in, they're supposedly casting him as Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, interesting.
William Jackson Harper.
I have
But I
William
think-
Jackson Harper as my number 2. That's crazy.
I think because Geordi needs to be a little bit nerdy, he needs to be a little dorky.
Exactly.
I'm sure Daniel Kaluuya could pull that off, but he hasn't. I don't think he has any role that's sort of like that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really know. But I'd say someone, he's got. I don't remember his name, but the remember Nessie Classified Cookie.
Yeah, Cookie.
Bring him back,
Perfect.
and then we have Coconut Head as Spock, and then we got, Cookie as Geordi. He's just free.
Perfect.
Bang.
Daniel Curtis.
There he is.
Yeah, I really like William Jackson Harper in the role. I think he would play it well. He's also in Patterson. Yeah, one of my other ones is I think you could go nerdy. You kind of either go like nerdy with him, or you go kind of the more Scotty kind of brute engineer kind of route that I think Geordi can also channel because he does shit himself, and that's where I actually did think like Jonathan Majors would be a good pick because he's just got
Yeah.
that charisma. He'd be like that kind of likable hunk over in engineering. Runs a tight ship, but everybody loves him. Would play him a little bit more like Scotty, but
For me, Geordi, my number 1 was also Daniel Kaluuya. Just kind of first person that came to
Bang.
mind. But yeah. I also wrote down, if we're going like the more like slice of life friendly kind of film, if like that's the direction we're going with this one, I also said John Boyega. I think he could do it.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly.
yeah. As long as he's in a ship.
Yep.
As long as he doesn't make set with a
Yes.
living hell.
Yeah. I did. This is when wasn't somebody I actually wrote down, but Donald Glover did pop into my mind multiple times.
Yeah, he was immediate, but I think Donald Glover's a little too 2015. I think we're past Donald Glover. I think he's out of style. I think we can move on from him.
People really like Atlanta, Josh. I just want to say that.
They do.
Well,
People
it's
really
not
like
quite
Atlanta.
in the upper echelon of public popularity.
You're
That's
right.
true.
He's
It's
sorta-
true. That's fair. But when the
I'd
Community
say-
movie comes out, everybody's gonna be back on the
Yeah.
train. I think The
Yeah,
Martian
this
was
kid-
one step too far. I think that's where maybe he crossed the line.
That was his
Even though he was
let me
funny.
play Geordi role.
Yeah, he was funny in it, but it's like I don't know. I like Donald Glover anyway.
Yeah, I mean I like him, but I think he's I think it might be a little too late for Donald. But I have another casting for Geordi, which I wouldn't like. I don't really like him as an actor. Also, because he's in so many commercials, and it's just sort of bizarre knowing his music. David Diggs.
Oh,
my
David Diggs.
gosh.
I think
I did
he
think
could
of David
definitely.
Diggs. I did
He
actually.
could
think of
definitely
David
pull
Diggs.
it off.
Yes,
The nerdy.
but he
more-
is very charismatic.
Yeah,
He's got
I mean,
charm.
hey, he's already done his sci-fi concept. I don't even remember the name of the album.
I thought you were
I
talking
don't-
about. I thought you were talking about the show Snowpiercer when you said sci-fi.
This is one of the clipping albums that was, about a slave or a spaceship. One of the guys. There's a concept album about something like that.
Splendor and Misery.
Splendor and Misery. So he's already played. Technically, he's already played a spaceman.
You're right.
Astronaut.
He
He's
has.
already done it. It's just it was in an album, just not in a movie or TV show. But I'd say he could. That would be a casting that would make
The
sense.
next logical step.
But every time I see him, I'm like,
It does make sense.
that's clipping.
Yeah.
That makes me think of Leslie Odom Jr., who's also in Hamilton. he's in The Glass Onion, I think, right? Yeah.
Speaking of Hamilton,
I'm so glad we have that as a segue. That's great.
how about our next character, Data?
Are we doing Data or Riker first?
I would say Data first.
Okay, Data first. All right. Oh, well, you're gonna fucking say what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I'm gonna preempt you.
He's perfect.
Already.
He's perfect. He was my number one. Go ahead. Whatever.
He was literally. Here, I'll say the name and then you can explain it. I already said this for Spock.
Yeah.
Jonathan Groff.
Jonathan Groff is the obvious choice from my perspective because with Data, I mean, he just looks like Data. Like he's got the look already. He's got the profile is the same. It's nice. He channels that same. I think he almost channels more Data than he does Spock with that kind of robotic, very flat kind of nature. But the thing with Spock is he needs to be able to do that, but he also needs to be able to shift gears and be goofy, comedic, musical. Kind of like very flexible. And that's something, obviously, that somebody like Jonathan Groff with his musical theater training would be very comfortable doing, and basically does as King George in Hamilton, honestly, a lot of the time. So yeah, I think he's a very good pick for that.
I like it. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I guess that's a compelling argument. I mean, like, if there's any like second place I wrote down,
I mean the obvious. I mean it like obviously subjectively.
Yeah, like I said like maybe Michael Cera. I don't know.
Yeah, Michael Cera.
Yeah.
Yes.
My thought with Michael Cera, because that was, my first thought was Michael Cera, but I also feel like, it's Michael Cera. I feel like you can't just put Michael Cera in like an actual
That's
role.
Yep, it's tough.
Is what it is.
I do want to see it though. I do kind of want to see it happen.
So I think if you you know how like Data just be learning stuff all the time, right? You'd be maturing
literally all the time.
We're
He's
gonna catch him a little earlier this time around. He's gonna be a bit more rambunctious.
Oh.
And we're gonna cast Barry Keoghan.
Oh no.
As Data. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy, and he's a rambunctious guy. He's a bastard. I think it would be a sight to behold.
I can kind of.
That's what I'm saying. I can kind of see it.
I'm not gonna say I can't. I feel like he'd have to be a little bit of a glitchy android.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Not always function at top.
Data.
If we're going on the younger, rambunctious route, why not Ezra Miller?
Oh, jeez.
Now you asked. Now let's go back a moment. You asked the question, why not Ezra Miller? Now I wonder if you can answer that question.
Well, I mean, if the point of art is to challenge you, so I would say you have to leave your preconceived notions at the door.
Out.
That would be a challenge.
I think. You know what? I think if Star Trek was going to go art house, I probably just wouldn't argue with you. I'd probably say fuck it, put him in there.
I could use art house Star Trek.
Yeah, art house Star Trek with Ezra Miller. Why not? Sure, why not?
We need to get back to all the Wikipedia articles with the movies having a bunch of drama in them with the original movies. Mm-hmm. That's what we're bringing back.
Yeah, get Edward Norton in there.
Yeah. Perfect.
Christian Bale,
Miles Teller,
Russell Crowe. They're just gonna kill each other. My another pick I had for Data was Nicholas Hoult. Also somebody who can do the comedy, do the goofy, do the musical, but also just be very stoic.
And the mouthfeel.
The mouth.
Yeah.
The menu.
You gotta try the mouthfeel of the silver spray paint.
Right. I have another one. I feel like this is actually a pretty easy one. I'm surprised nobody said this. I think you could easily cast Paul Dano to play Data.
Yeah.
That'd be easy, and you wouldn't really have to change much, I don't think.
I thought about it. My only issue is that I cast Paul Dano for a different character.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
That's interesting though. I like the Paul Dano pick. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
I have one more Data.
Yeah.
I think he's an interesting option because he's got a weird look to him. So I think you can. No offense to Brent Spiner, but Data does have a little bit of a weird look to him.
Yes, he looks goofy.
And so my thought was Harry Melling, who he was in the Harry Potter movies. Don't know who he played, but he was more notably in The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Oh, no way.
He played what's his face? He played what's his face? Don't remember.
Oh, is he the guy from Cowboy Bebop, the Netflix show? Played the villain,
might be.
the British guy with the fucked up teeth and the big ass eyes. Is that what we're talking about?
He's got crooked eyes. I don't know if he's in that. Let me check.
I just went after that.
Harry Melling.
Harry Melling. That was bastard.
He was also in Buster Scruggs.
Oh, this guy was in fucking. This guy was in the Queen's Gambit. That's what this motherfucker was fucking in.
Oh, the Queen's Gambit.
He was literally in the Queen's Gambit.
But yeah, he was Malcolm. Tragedy of Macbeth.
Yes, I remember him. Yes.
So I think he could, he's a talented actor. He's
another actor. I apologize.
He's playing what's his face. He's playing Edgar Allan Poe, I think, in the new movie about some sort of detective mystery. So I think he could. I'd imagine he can pull off the, the range required of goofy Data.
Yes. Yes, that is a good pick. Alex Hassel, I apologize. I didn't mean any of those things I said. My last Data pick, and this was another pick that I made before I watched Armageddon Time, and that was Jeremy Strong.
Yeah.
He's just got an energy to him that I think would be really fun in the role. He's got that kind of goofy look, like he's got kind of a distinct profile.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he would be fun.
You mentioned Queen Gambit, which made me think of Anya Taylor-Joy, maybe as Troy.
Oh yeah, as a younger Troy, that would work.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to go young. You're right. So it would make sense.
Perfect. Anybody else got a Data?
Nope.
No. William Riker. You hear that? That's his fucking name. That's what he was born with. William Riker.
All right, so I'm gonna go a little
Riker.
bit out of left field for this Riker pick. You'd have to change the character a decent amount in the dark and gritty reboot of the Next Generation. Very gritty and serious.
Yeah.
Think like Event Horizon.
Right.
I would say my Riker would be played by Vince Vaughn.
Oh my gosh.
Is it doggy dog?
I feel like the more I think about it, the more I
Yeah.
think Vince Vaughn doesn't belong in the Star Trek universe.
I think you can take the Riker character and make him a hard ass. I think you slot Vince Vaughn right in there.
Yeah,
I don't even know if Vince Vaughn can grow a beard. I imagine he could, but
probably.
you got a tall ass dude.
Yeah. Good guy.
Big ass bodybuilder type build.
Yes.
Or not bodybuilder, bodyguard type build. And he doesn't have the sort of Riker, charm. Because Riker's kind of like Kirk.
Yeah,
in sort of his charm. But, in this reboot, you make him a hard ass.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I think
I can see it.
Yeah.
It was that was my first thought was how can you change the Riker character?
Yeah.
And I'd say that would be the route you could go.
Yeah.
I mean, it would work. It wouldn't be the route I would go. It was my first thought, but it's not my number one choice.
Sure.
But I think in a similar vein, you could also go with Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be nuts.
That could be good.
I feel like I went maybe the opposite direction of you, Josh, with it, as far as like I think I would play into Riker being even more charismatic and maybe even a little goofy. So I picked somebody who's big, I'm really happy with this casting choice because I think he has the look. I think he's a big guy, up and coming guy. People like him. He's got comedy background, but can also do dramatic stuff. And I'm talking about Zachary Levi, aka Shazam. He can grow the beard. He can be without the beard.
Oh my gosh.
I think he would actually make number one an interesting, like, fun character, like a good side character. Maybe some comedic relief, but still have that kind of hotshot attitude.
I think I'm onto it.
I buy it.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Yeah. Thank you.
For me with Riker, I actually had a hard time picking from like. There's a lot of people who could do Riker pretty well. I think.
Yeah.
I think I just threw down Chris Pratt, and then I also wrote down. You can do it, but also I wrote down Nick Offerman, but only if he's CGI de-aged to his early 30s. But that was only for the beard.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right.
Oh, that would be nuts.
Really
That'd
like
be
that.
fire.
It'd have to be some great CGI.
I don't
but...
mind it. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
I'm with it.
I'm with it.
So I had I had two more Rikers.
Same.
One of them, he's a tall guy. He's got the charm. He's skinny though, but I think he can sort of play the
Cody's
charismatic type. No, I was thinking Andrew Garfield.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I think he's got the same sort of charismatic guy. He can get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, his absolutely excellent performance as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We team him up with Armie Hammer Kurt. We have ourselves a social network. Pair of the reboots here.
Perfect.
I think you could keep the character pretty similar, and you could cast Sam Rockwell.
Wow, Sam Rockwell. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you'd have to change too much. I feel like it would work pretty well.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think you could do it. No, I can't think of a single reason. Funny guy. Funny guy.
I have another Riker. I think this is one you guys will like. He's not all that tall. He's not like a short guy, but he's not tall. He's a fan favorite of everyone in here, I'd assume. We all like him. He's one of the top guys in Hollywood. One of the all time dudes. All time, like, yeah, that's a cool guy. I like that guy. Ethan Hawke. How about that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be good.
It was just Ethan Hawke's birthday.
Ooh, timing.
Like I think a couple days ago.
Perfect.
You know, that's crazy.
Part of the plan.
I thought you were gonna say somebody that I had when you're going down the train of thought. I have two more picks for Riker. The first one I had said earlier when we were talking about this, and that is if Brendan Fraser was feeling up to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, get back to his old Hollywood form, and I think he would bring that just the correct energy, very similar to Zachary Levi type energy, where you just have that charisma, that good goofiness, big guy.
Yeah, because the Riker type character is like not in modern movies. You just don't have that guy anymore. So I think it makes sense to cast an older actor like Brendan Fraser, who has had that sort of, smooth, charisma. Not like he's like suave, but he's just a, nice dude type charisma.
Exactly.
I think he definitely has that capability.
I also had him written down.
Oh, did you? Oh, nice. Yeah. My last Riker pick is a little tough because I think there would be perhaps a risk that he ends up feeling like he would dominate the space if this was the white cast. But I thought that he's also, I don't think he's that big either, but Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
I think he could do it.
He might dominate the space, so you're right.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying there.
That's my only concern.
But I think it's a good pick. It makes a lot of sense. He can keep and shave the
I was
beard
thinking
too.
about the
That's
beard
for
a little
sure.
bit too much. That's what I'm saying.
Talented both ways.
He could be a little older, a little bit wiser, a little bit more stern. But
Cast him as Worf too.
I had him
I guess he could.
on my mind for Worf. I actually did.
There you go.
I did.
Here you go.
But I wrote down Zendaya instead.
Yeah. Way it goes.
I mean, she's clearly a better option. She'll sell tickets. Oscar Isaac,
Right.
who's he?
I mean, they're both in Dune.
You're right.
Literally.
Okay, are we on to the finale, the cream of the crop?
All right, I wanna leave this one off.
Okay, yeah, that'll be a good change.
This is okay. I've let every one of these off, but I think you got Picard.
Yeah.
Who is more of a straight man.
Yes.
Than Kirk.
Definitely.
He's much more of a stoic guy.
Yes.
obviously he's not an emotionless guy, but he's
is
he's
his
a leader.
he is professional. He
knows his position. He's got to get the job done. He's got to be a leader for these guys.
Yeah.
So who in a recent movie has been a leader for a crew of flying people? Mr. Tom Cruise.
Oh.
All you got to do is shave his head. Bang. And there you go. Tom Cruise, Jean-Luc Picard. It just makes sense.
You know what? I can see why you wanted to lead that one off. He started off
think-
a bang.
Also, he's done. I mean, he's Ethan Hunt. He's done the more like serious.
Yeah.
Of course, Maverick is. You wouldn't just plug in Maverick, but you would. He can definitely do the stoic, more of a leader type.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a short guy. You're gonna have to give him, high heels. But I think he does work.
Yes.
I mean,
he does.
if you were, I would, in my, Star Trek, I would make him a different character. I would not make him Picard. I would make him a different captain. I think he would, literally, just a good option.
Perfect. My number one Picard pick was kind of the most basic one in my mind. It was the one where I was like, okay, you just get a guy who kind of already has the look, kind of has the bald look, stern, direct. That's almost always what he plays. Strong face, and that is Mr. Mark Strong. Most recently he was in Shazam. He's in 1917. He's in a lot of different stuff. He just Tar. He just that's right. He was in Tar. Just pops up in things, but he's got that nice jawline.
Kingsman,
that nice stern look, bald head. Would fill that role real nice. I think. Command that presence.
Yeah.
Keep the whole thing
British.
together. Yeah.
See how the accent.
Can I play off of this?
Ooh.
So, in lieu of one of the movies that was just mentioned, I'm going to cast another person from Tar, and we're going to gender swap.
Oh,
Yes.
Cast Kate Blanchett. It was one of my earliest thoughts.
Wow.
Kate Blanchett would kill it.
Yeah.
She's still gonna be bald.
I think you could just make her basically look like Lydia Tar. Just have her wear the Star Trek uniform. I don't know, and it works.
Yeah.
Seen Tar. If I hadn't seen
Yeah,
Tar, I
he
don't
did.
know if I would have said that. But I saw Tar, and
And she's
Yep.
got range.
she does.
She does. Golly, she does. That's a good pick. I respect it.
I respect your pick quite a bit. I kind of followed a similar logic when trying to pick my Picard, where I wanted somebody who I was confident could play a character who was very intelligent and have it come across as authentic and not just like hammy or whatever. I picked Bryan Cranston because I think he could do it. I really do.
Bryan
I
Cranston.
think
The
you're
only
right.
thing I worry about, I worry that too many people are going to see him play another bald guy and be like, "Oh, Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
Breaking Bad."
Yeah.
I've seen that. But assuming he avoids being typecast for his previous bald role, I'm sure he'd do great.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't think of that.
He's a great actor. Always has.
Yeah.
And to my real pick for Picard,
Yeah.
who I think would actually play Picard, Mr. Alan Rickman. This is his most famous role.
Snape.
Who's the main enemy
Voldemort. Oh,
in those
no.
movies? Played by Ray Fiennes.
Oh.
He literally has the look. He's got the gravitas. He's got everything you would need to play Picard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. the
That's a
Menu.
good one. I didn't even think of that.
I think it's the most obvious pick to just actually be able to play Picard. I think he would actually
That's a good
literally be able to do it.
It's a good one. My second pick for Picard was one I have trouble picturing visually in my mind because this actor normally has a really nice full head of hair and usually pretty beautiful facial hair as well. Some nice eyebrows. So it's hard for me to picture them like with the bald, but they could do it. You could shave the beard, they could shave the head, all that stuff. You can do that. And I think if they did that with this actor, he would be able to bring the intelligence that we've been talking about, the kind of diplomatic thing. He's done this in a different sci-fi franchise. This diplomatic, polite, intelligent, stern type, and that is Mr. Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Obi-Wan himself. I think he could do it. I think he's a sleeper pick, if you will.
I believe. I see the vision.
I do too.
Yeah, I think he'd get it done. I'd be excited to see it.
I agree. I think so. For my third pick, I think why even bother with recasting Picard? I think you should literally just keep the same actor who's already played Picard.
You don't mean it.
And of course, I'm literally talking about Tom Hardy.
I thought when you were taking control at first, when you assumed the position, I thought you were gonna say Tom Hardy.
Picard.
That was what I
He's
thought.
already done it.
Picard.
I have to go out there to bat. The most underrated Star Trek movie. It's the most unjustly hated on. It's so work of symbolic genius.
So dookie dokie. So in the 10th original Star Trek film, which was the last one before the J.J. Abrams reboots, came out in 2002. In that film, the main antagonist is a clone of Jean-Luc Picard that's younger, played by Tom Hardy, long before anybody knew who Tom Hardy was.
Yep, it's crazy.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know. He was doing something.
God, this shot
he
with
was
his
doing
fucking
something.
fucked up teeth is
he was
incredible.
Doing something.
The vampire imagery, it's literally good.
It's a choice. Crazy. It's a choice.
But the more on Tom Hardy, if you don't want to do Tom Hardy because he's already played Picard, you could do Tom Hardy 2.0 budget Tom Hardy, Logan Marshall Green. Because he's got the look, and he's a good actor.
Sure. Yeah, he was in Prometheus, right?
Yeah, he was in Prometheus. Yeah. He was in Upgrade.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
He literally looks like Tom Hardy.
He's the Tom Hardy clone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think sure. It's a good option.
I think I saved my best pick for last, maybe of the whole thing. Because it's so bold, it would be such a miraculous occurrence, but it's conceivably possible, and I think it would be perfection. And that is if we pulled Mr. Daniel Day-Lewis out of retirement for one last ride.
So I wrote him in front of Cate Blanchett.
Literally, it would be perfect.
He's got the beak
nose
thing.
And everything. He's got the.
Yes, you can get him. He's literally in the fucking French countryside, cobbling shoes. It's literally Picard backstory. You could just drag and drop.
Yes,
but I have a couple more. One I think is a bit of an interesting option. He was good in Bone Tomahawk. What's his face? Patrick Wilson.
Oh yes, from Aquaman.
I think he's an Aquaman. He's got the look. So I think he could certainly pull it off. He would. He doesn't really have the gravitas of Patrick Stewart, but I think that would be hard to replace. Also, I forgot about this. When I was thinking of Ralph Fiennes, I was actually thinking of this movie that I had seen only parts of, Coriolanus. It was an adaptation of Shakespeare, and it was set in the modern day, and he played Coriolanus. Because I was thinking, Patrick Stewart was a Shakespearean guy. He gets sort of his, he got to that sort of presence from being a Shakespearean actor. And I was thinking of people who have played Shakespeare characters. And I was just going through Shakespeare movies, and I was like, oh, there you go.
Fucking.
About Ralph Fiennes.
Speaking of Shakespeare, put fucking Denzel in there. Mm-hmm. Fuck it.
Yeah. I have one more as well. You'd have to change up the character a little bit, for sure, and I don't really know if he could do it, but I there's part of me that could see it, and we've actually talked about him. Daniel Kaluuya. I think he could maybe do it. You'd have to change some things, but I think maybe he could do it. Real stoic guy. I don't know. I'm thinking of him in Nope, and
yes,
you tweak some things. I think it could work.
I agree. It's a good pick.
Right, so I've got one last pick.
One last pick
for Picard. And so when I was thinking of Shakespeare, I was thinking you want someone who has that sort of presence in the sort of backstory where they're able to go from, the actor themselves sort of has that background of having a Shakespearean or some sort of theatrical presence. And I think that's what you'd want from Picard. So then I thought, what if you don't want that? You want someone who has the gravitas, but is not even an actor, but is someone who can absolutely sort of pull off that leadership role with the presence, the leader of men type thing. I was thinking, why not the guy who can and will, Dan Campbell?
You've crossed over into a whole different audience.
His performance.
We're gonna do this fucking thing, man.
I don't know, man.
We're gonna bite the kneecaps off these Klingons, man.
It's his performance in Hard Knocks really just set the stage. And a non-actor to put in that sort of performance, I think would make Robert Bresson cry. That's
what a performance he put on.
Oh my goodness.
No, he had us convinced.
I know so many people that bought it. That's for sure.
I was believing that the Lions were going to be good. I mean, he convinced it. He could play. He could literally pull off a absolute Kobayashi Maru type maneuver by pivoting into being an actor. Exactly. And also, actually, while I was doing that, I thought of another one just in my head. An actual Shakespearean actor. I don't know if he is. Just off the top of my head, guy from The Walking Dead, Andrew Lincoln.
Oh yeah, and he is British.
He is British, and he's a good actor. He's literally
he's a good actor.
Only good part of Walking Dead is just.
Rick. What are you trying to say about John Berthal?
Let me ask you something, Rick.
No. All right.
You could have him as Worf.
You literally could. That would be nuts. All right, so those are our picks for the casting. I think we came up with some pretty interesting ones. It'd be, I think Next Generation is such a different, kind of less stylized beast compared to the original series. So it's a little bit, feels a little bit more disjointed, a little bit more kind of serious inherently. And that
also has not been rebooted.
It's not been rebooted.
We don't have a whole second group of people that we have to take into consideration.
No, we do not. I mean, in all honesty, outside of Tarantino, I think we've talked about this, but as far as the original series, another original series reboot goes, I still think J.J. Abrams would be honestly pretty high up on the list of people I'd want directing it. With the same kind of vision. But do we want to think about what would we want to direct the? Well, do we want to have Sam reveal his original series casting?
All right.
Sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll punch through this real quick.
Yeah.
Scotty wasn't really sure, so I just said Andy Serkis. Yeah, honestly, I was like, all right, I guess. Chekhov, I had no idea just in general because I couldn't think of anyone who could actually do the accent properly. So I just wrote down, make Tom Holland fake a Russian accent based on 2009 casting.
Oh, Josh.
That's what I said.
Sweet.
I figured
it's like you need your young teen, well, not teen, but youngish looking guy. So he seems like the obvious answer. So her I wrote down Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah. Zoe.
It seemed like yep. I said Bones, and here's where Paul Dano comes back up. I said Mark Ruffalo. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. As my first pick.
That's crazy.
Okay, so he's my first pick, right? And then I said Paul Dano as a second pick if we're not really thinking about looks, but more about the ability to play the personality. That said, Mark Ruffalo is my number one for Bones.
Mark Ruffalo.
You know the Mark Ruffalo lore.
You can do it.
You know the Mark Ruffalo lore. Maybe Andrew can elaborate on the Mark Ruffalo lore.
There's crazy lore with Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
My parents went to high school with them.
No way.
Yeah. They did. They kind of knew him. I think he was 2 years older than them. But Virginia Beach legend, I guess.
So.
Fantastic.
Proud alumni.
All right. For Kirk, I said Tom Cruise for Kirk, and I said if the looks are an issue because he doesn't really look like William Shatner at all, mocap Bradley Cooper's face on him, but it still has to be Tom Cruise doing all of the acting and stunts. But if that's an issue, then do that. But if that's not an issue, then just do Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Then Bradley Cooper would be good.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper really would be good in the role.
Yeah, he could.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, the Jeremy Strong playing unfit Captain America type maneuver there.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny.
All right.
I wonder if he's lying. I don't even know if I believe him, but I think it's funny.
And then my Spock picks. I have a few. Adam Driver is one. That just seemed
Yes.
seemed like a pretty straightforward choice. Park Hae-soo, I hope I'm pronouncing his name properly, who played Sangwoo in Squid Game. He was like the antagonistic guy, sorta. He also came to mind. I think he could actually pull off the role pretty well, or at least the emotionless element of it. And yeah, those are my two Spock picks. That's it for my original series one.
Perfect. Good picks. So
Well,
yeah.
Well, before we go, I actually had came up with a Sulu that kind of actually worked. It was an actual Japanese actor.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Tadanobu Asano.
Mm.
And he was in his big sort of role is Ichi the Killer.
Oh yeah,
He plays Ichi the Killer.
Yes.
He's in all the Thor movies.
Oh yeah.
As Hogan.
Yeah.
I don't really remember the character.
Sure.
He's in Love and Pop. He's in
why haven't we watched that yet?
Labyrinth of Cinema.
Oh.
He's in Silence.
Yes.
So I think
Bang.
because the topic we had in the last episode was, or one, I don't remember if it was actually in the episode or not, but we were thinking cast like a Japanese like martial arts like samurai type
correct
role, and he's done that before.
Sure.
And that was
good pick.
I think it would actually be a good casting.
Yeah.
Do we have any quick off the dome ideas for who would want to direct a Next Generation reboot film?
Christopher McQuarrie.
Fair enough. I think you go horror, kind of body horror mode with this, and you go Brandon Cronenberg.
I was literally saying Brandon Cronenberg.
What's wrong with us?
I had another one, and this is when we get the artsy casting, and Terrence Malick directs it.
Oh my god! Now Kogonado, if we're going down that train, just get these contemplative directors come in here.
Yep.
Mix up on Freaky Deaky.
Daniel Day-Lewis is gonna be pondering some shit.
Yes, literally.
How about Panos Cosmatos?
Yes. Technicolor Star Trek.
Perfect. All right. Well, if that's all we got, that has been our casting.
Denis Villeneuve.
Okay. Well, yeah, he'd be great, I guess, probably. He's probably got better stuff to do. Or maybe not.
He's got better stuff.
I
think he's got
he's
better
one of the,
stuff.
He's one of the
Yeah.
few people out there who maybe does have better stuff to do.
I don't actually think he's talented enough where he would definitely be able to do a Star Trek, but that's not really his style.
He can be doing better things.
Yep, literally.
He could.
He
Don't let him write it.
Yeah.
Don't let him write
No,
it.
do not let him
But
write it.
he would
not let him write
he would be
it.
able to direct
Please.
Yeah, I'm begging. We get Alex Garland to write it.
Or yeah.
it. I think he could do it. I think he could write it.
He'd probably do something interesting.
I mean, Dread, and
and Dread,
Yep.
Carl Urban.
So
Carl Urban.
this has been the Ubumfa podcast. We've done casting for two of the main casts of or character groups of Star Trek. We are going to, or maybe already have, probably going to record conversations about the movies, and then we're also going to be starting to watch through some of the shows, so maybe we'll do an episode on the show at some point someday. But yeah, this has been us. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, bye. Live long and prosper. Lock and load. Smooth as an android's bottom.
Oh, actually, who would be a good director? There's a certain Frank Ogallala.
Yeah, that's.
Yes.
I think studios
Hit,
are
too.
ignoring him at their own, to their own peril. But I think,
He knows how to deal with all these different characters.
Yeah.
In a
Create an
suspicious
atmosphere.
arrangement.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly what we need. And that's all I have to say.
All right.
Starfleet's gonna be in Toronto.
No, it's gonna be Vancouver, like Mass Effect.